A very good morning, dear children. Today we are going to start with chapter 3, Force and Pressure. The entire chapter is divided into two. The first part talks about force and the second part talks about pressure. So today we will be covering the first part, that is force. What is force? Force is a push or pull upon an object that results in either an increase or decrease in its motion. Any circumstance where we are pushing an object or we are pulling an object because of which its motion is increasing or its motion is decreasing is called as force. In this, there are two things which are very important, that is increase and decrease in its motion. We are going to look at examples, you will understand at that time. Here if you see, the car initially is at rest or it is stationary. Only when the boy pushes the car or he is applying a pressure or he is applying a force on the car, because of which the car starts moving. So here what is happening is, because of the force of pushing or because of the act of pushing the car, it increases its motion. There is an increase in its motion. So this is force. Another example which we can take is the ball which is in motion. It decreases in motion when we hold on it or when we are pushing or we are applying force on it. So a force because of which there is decrease in motion is called as force. So anything that you are doing because of which either the object starts moving or the object stops is called as force. What are the effects of force? Effects of force, there are three effects. There is change in shape, there is change in direction, and there is change in speed. First we will look at change in shape. We know that whenever we make a dough, we have to apply force on it, because of which the shape of the dough changes. So force helps in changing the shape of an object. Similarly, a potter applies force because of which he is able to give shape to that particular pot. Second is change in direction. The ball comes in a very straight line to the batsman, but because of the force with which he applies on the ball, it changes the direction of the ball. Change in speed. Based on the force that we apply on the object, the speed of the object keeps changing. So here, if more force is applied on the cycle, the speed of the cycle will also change. We are going to be learning types of forces. The first we are going to start is contact and non-contact forces. Okay. From that, first we will look at contact force. What is contact force? Contact force means the force which can occur only if there is contact between two different objects or between the person and the object. Here, the mop is moving mainly because of the hands of the person. The hand is in contact with the mop. Okay? If the person removes his hand or if he breaks the contact, the mop will also stop moving. Here, the person is moving the cart. Here, the hand on the cart is the basic contact in this. If in case a person removes his hand, then the cart will stop moving. So these are examples of contact forces. Now we will look at non-contact force. The word itself is telling you the meaning. Non-contact force means that for this, there need not be any kind of contact. For the force to occur, there is no need of contact between the person and the object or between two objects. Let's look at the examples. We know about magnetic force. Here, there is no need of the magnet to be in contact with the material. Even if the material is far away, it gets attracted because of the magnetic force. Here, magnetic force is an example of non-contact force. Second is electrostatic force. We have already seen this in the previous class. If in case a scale or a comb is rubbed against a cloth, it gets charged, and because of the charge it can attract pieces of paper towards it. Here there is no contact between the comb and the scale with the pieces of paper, but still there is movement happening. This is an example of non-contact force. Gravitational force. We have seen fruits falling from the tree, but we know that there is no contact between the fruit and the ground, but still there is movement. So, magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force are the examples of non-contact forces. This is a very small experiment which we need to know, because of which we'll understand that non-contact forces exist. In this, we have taken a container which is marked in green. In that we have taken water which is marked in blue. On the water we have two bottles or two containers, and on top of that we have two magnets kept. The magnets are being given in two colors, one is silver and one is brown, to show the North Pole and the South Pole. So here the silver colored part is the North Pole and the brown colored part is the South Pole. Now if you are going to look at the center, you will understand that the South Pole of one magnet is facing the North Pole of the other magnet. So they are opposites, and we have learned that when opposite poles are kept together, they attract each other. Now because of the non-contact forces, as I already told you, two magnets need not be in contact with one another for the force to occur. Here also if you see, the magnets are not kept in contact with one another. They are far away from one another, but because they are non-contact forces, the south and the north are facing each other, these two will move towards one another. Okay, if you try to do the opposite, that is, now what I have done, I have shifted the magnet. Now if you see, the South Pole is facing the South Pole. Two South Poles are coming towards one another. As we have already learned, like poles repel each other, so what is going to happen is there will be repulsion. These two bottles will move away from one another. This is an experiment that proves that non-contact forces, they actually exist. Now we will learn balanced force and unbalanced force. In that, the first thing we will discuss is balanced force. We have seen a seesaw. Now here, if you look at the picture carefully, at both the ends we have kept materials or boxes which are of the same weight, that is 500 gram. Because on both the sides the weight remains the same, there is no movement towards the left and the right. Such a force is called as balanced force. We look at more examples. Tug of war. During tug of war, if both the teams are applying the same force, then there will be no movement of the rope happening, because of which this becomes a balanced force. A manual weighing machine. If in case on both the plates we keep equal weight, then there will be no movement or no motion towards either of the side. Therefore this becomes a balanced force. So balanced force means that on either of the side there is equal weight or there is equal force. That is why it's called as balanced force. Now we will discuss unbalanced force. Unbalanced force is going to be the opposite of balanced force. We will take the same examples which we used for balanced forces. In balanced force, the first thing we discussed was the seesaw. If in case on a seesaw, if one side has more weight than the other side, or one has more force than the other side, there will be movement towards that side. Here if you see, the left hand side has more weight, and that is why it is moving towards that side. tug of war. During tug of war, if one team applies more force than the other team, the rope will move towards the side which has more force. That is why this is called unbalanced force, because the rope is moving towards one side. Weighing machine. If one plate of it has more weight than the other plate, there will be movement towards the side which has more weight. So this is unbalanced force. Now if you compare what we just now did, you will clearly understand in balanced forces there is no movement seen. But in unbalanced forces there is movement seen, and the movement is always towards the side which has more force or has more weight. Now, there are three sentences which are very important in your text. It's given on page 16. These three sentences should be learned. We'll discuss each sentence in detail. The first sentence is, if several forces are applied on an object in the same direction, a force equal to their addition acts on that object. Okay, we will look at an example. Here, there are two people who are trying to apply force on an object. The first person applies a force of 25 Newton and the second person is applying a force of 20 Newton. Both of them are trying to apply the force towards the right hand side. Okay. So what is happening is both of them are trying to apply force on the object towards the same side or towards the same direction. So their forces will get added together. So the total amount of force that is acting on the object will be 25 Newton plus 20 Newton, that is 45 Newton. So whenever you are taking any example where there is force applied in the same direction by many different people, you will add their forces together to get the total amount of force. Let's look at the sentence again. If several forces are applied on an object in the same direction, a force equal to their addition acts on the object. Let's look at this one by one. Several forces applied on an object. Several forces, why we are saying several? Because there were two people applying force on one object only. Okay? In the same direction. Both of them were going towards the right hand side only. A force equal to their addition acts on the object. We saw that one was 25, one was 20. Because they were moving in the same direction, we added their forces together. So 25 plus 20 becomes 45. So the force was equal to the addition of the individual forces. That is why 45 Newton was the force which was applied on the object. Okay. Now we look at the second sentence. If two forces are applied on an object in directions opposite to each other, a force equal to their difference acts on the object. Let's look at an example. Here, we have two elephants which are trying to pull a log. The first elephant pulls it towards the left with a force of 200 Newton and the second elephant pulls it towards the right again with 200 Newton. Okay. Now here we have multiple forces because we have two elephants. Okay. The opposite direction is what they are applying, that is one is towards the left, one is towards the right. So they are trying to pull it in two opposite directions. In such a case, when you have multiple forces and when you have it in opposite directions, you will subtract or you will take the difference of their forces. So because they are in opposite directions, I'm going to do 200 Newton minus 200 Newton, that becomes 0. So the force that is being applied on the object is 0, and that is why the object shows no motion. It neither moves to the left nor it moves towards the right. Okay, this is the same logic that's been applied to all balanced forces. I told you when we were discussing balanced and unbalanced, I told you balanced force is where motion is not going to be there. Seesaw is not moving. Why? Because both the sides 500 it is. Okay. Tug of war also, there was no movement of the rope. Why? Because both the sides were equal. They had equal forces. Even during the weighing machine, on both the plates there were equal weights kept. That is why there was no motion. Same thing is applying here. Two elephants, they are moving or pulling or applying force on two opposite directions. Both of them are equal. That is why the net force is 0. Okay. So we'll look at this sentence again. If two forces are applied on an object in directions opposite to each other, a force equal to their difference acts on the object. Let's look at it one by one. Two forces applied on one object. Two forces, here we are talking about the two elephants which were acting on one object. The object is a log. Okay. In directions opposite to each other. One is moving towards the left, one is moving towards the right. Then a force equal to their difference acts on the object. Here the word difference means subtraction. So the force which we saw was equal to what? The difference between that acted on the object. So difference means we did 200 minus 200. So what is the force? 0. So 0 Newton is the force that is acting on that object. Okay. Now we look at the third sentence. A force is expressed in magnitude and direction. Force is a vector quantity. Now, in the two examples which we took earlier, the first example we saw that two people were there. Both of them applied to 25 Newton, 20 Newton, and both of them were towards the right. Now here we concentrated on two main things. One was how much of force and second was which direction. So because we talked about amount or how much of force, we are basically talking about its magnitude. Okay, so we considered two things, magnitude and direction. Okay, same thing we are applying in the second example. In the second example, what are we doing? Again, what we learned, what did we try to find out? We found out how much of force. So we were talking about magnitude. And we also spoke about, we considered direction also, whether they were going towards, both of them were going towards right, both of them were going towards left, or whether one was going towards the right and one was going towards the left. So we learnt about, we considered what? The amount of force and the direction. That means we are discussing about magnitude and direction. And because we are considering both magnitude and direction, force becomes a vector quantity. If we were looking only at direction, or we were looking only at the amount or the magnitude, it would have been a scalar quantity. Because we are looking at both magnitude and direction, this becomes a vector quantity. So we look at the third sentence again. A force is expressed in magnitude and direction. Magnitude, here we need to understand, it's about the how much of force or amount of force. Okay, and direction is either right, left, or both together. Okay, because it is expressed in magnitude and direction, force becomes a vector quantity. I hope this is clear. Now moving to inertia. Okay, inertia is the tendency of a body to either be in the state of rest or to be in motion till the time a force is acting on it. Okay, now this is a experiment which you must have quite often heard of, or most of you all have even tried this. That is, you have a glass on which there is a postcard kept, and on the postcard you have a coin. Okay, what you do is you keep it as it is for approximately some time, and then what you do is you actually hit on the postcard. Now what happens when you hit the postcard? When you're hitting the postcard, we will normally think that the coin will move along with the postcard, but that does not happen. The coin moves into the glass. Okay, now what exactly is happening here is the coin is in inertia. That is, it's experiencing inertia. Inertia means what? It is in the state of rest. Okay, so even if you're hitting on the postcard, the coin remains in the same state of rest, and because of that it remains in the center only. Okay, now why is it moving down? Because gravitational force is acting on it. I hope this is clear. So inertia is basically the tendency of an object to be in its state of rest or be in continuous motion. Okay, we look at other examples. We've all traveled through bus. Okay, and we know that when we are sitting in the bus, if in case we continue sitting there, we are actually going to experience inertia. Means what? We will continue, our body tends to remain in the same place as it is. And what happens is, when the bus stops, this inertia gets broken, or there is an unbalanced force acting on it. So when the bus is stopping, what is going to happen? We get a jerk towards the front side. Okay, we move towards the front. Jerk means we suddenly move towards the front. So that force which we are experiencing is basically inertia. Suppose that we are sitting and the bus is not moving. We sit over there, and suddenly when the bus starts, we get a jerk backward. We move towards the back. Okay, so this is an example of inertia. Inertia means where a body tends to be in rest. Okay, that is when the bus is starting, that is rest. Or the body tends to be in motion, that is when the bus is moving and suddenly it stops. So what is inertia? It is the tendency of an object to be in motion or to be in rest till the time an unbalanced force is acting on it. Here, unbalanced force means the stopping of the bus or starting of the bus, because of which we suddenly move. Okay, that is when you say that an unbalanced force is acting on you. Okay, this example which we have taken is inertia of state of rest, or inertia of rest it is called. Okay, now we will look at another example. This is directional inertia. Now what does that mean? We are in the bus, and suppose that the bus takes a turn towards the left. What happens to us is, our body automatically tilts towards the right. Suppose that the bus is taking a turn towards the right. What happens to us? We automatically tilt towards the left. Okay, this is where the body tries to change its direction because there is an unbalanced force acting on it. The body was experiencing an inertia where it was in rest, but because there was an unbalanced force of the bus moving towards the right and the left, our body tends to change its position towards the left and the right. Okay, so this is called directional inertia. Directional inertia means we are changing our direction based on the unbalanced force acting on us. Okay, I hope this is clear. Thank you.